Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alan Diaz from Contractor USA, and I'm excited to bring this particular topic on 20 of the most common mistakes or errors that cause businesses like construction companies specifically to go bankrupt or to basically fall apart and destroy themselves and disintegrate into the ground. But anyways, let's go through those, and they're not in any particular order, although I will point out some of the ones that are that usually cause the most problems, and so that way you can fine-tune those. But I found in life that when you look up sometimes the negative of something, it actually helps you to remember not to do that. So one day I was working at a small cabinet shop. It was just the owner and myself, right? And he taught me a lot of really handcrafted things, a lot of carvings, a lot of beautiful handcrafted woodwork that we would do. So it was furniture and all that kind of stuff. And he made enough of a living to take care of his family and then obviously support me as an employee. And I remember once going into, he said this was his mother-in-law's house, and it was. But we go over there, and he had built these cabinets when he had first started doing woodworking after his training, and he made some very critical errors. And so he pointed them out to me, and I just thought, oh, okay, interesting. You know, I was a newbie at the place working for him, and he pointed these out to me. And then later on in life, when I would start my own construction company and I would have a division of fine furniture build and cabinetry and all that kind of stuff, I went in to go do my very first kitchen. This is when I was small and I was by myself. And guess what? Did not make those 7 errors that he told me, because I remembered and I go, oh, well, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And so I have found that many times people, they'll go to the internet and they'll search out, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And I do that, but I do something that I think that probably a lot of people don't do. I mean, I've asked around, and most people that I have asked never do this. But what are the biggest mistakes on such and such a task or such and such a type of project, right? And then analyze those and then don't do them, right? So I want to go over this. This is 20 of the most common mistakes that contractors make. Now, we can get into the nuanced things of each individual type of project, like for an HVAC person or a room addition for a general contractor or for a painter, painting, stuff like that, and we'll get into those. But let me just dive into more of a general scope right now. The first one I want to talk about is this. It's a poor scope of definition. In other words, failure to define a clear scope of work. I had a contractor literally just in like a small, tiny little excerpt as they were remodeling a house. And what they did is all they put in is, we're going to remodel the kitchen, put in new cabinets, new base, new chair, and that was it. New chair rail, stuff like that, right? They didn't really go into any detail. And then the conflicts that happen because they're like, oh, no, that's not in the bid. And then what happens is, then it becomes like either you're giving in to the client because they're demanding things that they fully expected that you were going to do, and you're saying you're not because you're saying, well, that's not in the bid. But you kept it so general, you kept it in your favor. But you can get in a lot of problems with that because remember, most of the time when those clients, when you leave those clients, they're going to feel disgruntled about you. They're never going to want to use you again. They're going to say bad things about you. And remember, it's hard to get a good review. It's easy for people to leave bad reviews and talk negatively about you. In fact, they'll usually tell 5 to 10 people on average. And so you don't want your reputation destroyed. So the thing is you want to make sure that when it comes to your description that you go in detail. Now, in certain states, you do need to know this. You have to actually give line by line of everything you're going to do, the cost of that material specific to that line item, and also the amount of hours it's going to take. In fact, if you've ever done any insurance work, that's exactly, no matter what state, when it's insurance work, they're going to want every line item. That's why a lot of people who are disorganized don't want to do insurance work, even though it can be pretty lucrative. Of course, the insurance wants to pay as least as possible, but you should get paid what you're worth, right? And if you do this well and you're organized and you can manage the process well, you can really make some good money. I guess the question you have to ask is, are you organized? Only you would know that, or the people that work with you, or your significant other. So a poor description of what you're going to do. You do not want to lose clients, referrals, and repeats. So do a good job. Make sure you spell it out for them so they know. The second thing is, and this is actually one of the top 3 killers of all construction companies, and that's inaccurate bidding and estimating. Now, if you're already just barely writing a description, you're probably not doing due diligence to find out what the costs of things are. Maybe you're just throwing a number at it. You're just like, I just do this. I do a room addition. It's going to be this much, right? And you can do that, but you're really not knowing the dollars and cents. And you got to know every penny in your business and know what your product is producing, or you really don't know business. You'll never really be able to scale at a very large capacity, right? So estimating, are you estimating properly the labor? I can't tell you how many contractors actually think they get projects done earlier than they think. They'll be like, oh yeah, this job will take me 2 weeks. And they always go 3 or 4 weeks. Well, if you bid it at 2 weeks and your labor you have to pay for 3-4 weeks, you are losing. How do you know you're losing? Because your credit cards are going high. You don't have money in the savings, because as a construction company, you should have a couple $100,000 in the savings account so that you can run your projects. We'll talk more about that when it comes to bidding a little bit. And so in just a few seconds here. But the timeline, they don't know how long it takes, or the timeline, or what things to put in order, and they get these things confused and it causes chaos. You got to make sure that all of your tasks are in order, right? That's why some people use a critical path chart where it shows, hey, you got to do this task before you could do this task. Obviously, you want to do plumbing before you do drywall, right? That's pretty normal. We would say yes and amen to that one, right? Because these can cause profit loss. Now, when it comes to bidding those projects, you want to be careful, because, right, if you are bidding improperly, like not knowing the amount of time frame it takes, not knowing the labor that it's going to take, not even understanding labor burden, which is the taxes and the insurances that you pay for your employees to work for you, these things all lower your profit and can cause major problems, okay? Now, improper licensing and insurance. Did you know that it doesn't matter what state you go into? Listen to me carefully. This is important. It does not matter what state you go into. If you use someone who you are not paying payroll for, in other words, they're a helper and you're 1099ing them and you're not putting them on payroll, then what happens is if they get hurt, they get to sue the homeowner and you. They get to sue you for everything you have, and they get to sue everything the homeowner has. Now remember, your workers' comp generally covers their injuries when they're there. It's an agreement, right? Whenever you sign up and get workers' comp, it's a legit legal agreement between you and that employee. And that way, if something happens, work comp's going to take care of it. They monitor it. They are going to check. They don't want to pay out more than they have to. So they're going to make sure that that person is getting healthy, doing their, they're not staying on unemployment or not staying on disability for the rest of their life. Now, when you work someone and you don't have workers' compensation insurance and they get hurt, if they have chronic pain, they get to sue you for the rest of your life. They might even own your homes and your cars and your trucks, especially if you're doing the very bad thing of doing a sole proprietorship. You should never, ever do a sole proprietorship. Have I emphasized that enough? Never, ever. If you want to find out why, then make sure you write the comments below and we'll reach out to you and let you know why, okay? So improper licensing and insurance. Of course, most states do require contractor licenses for certain things. Texas might not have a general contractor's license below $250,000 a year, but people like HVAC or electrical, plumbing, those kinds of people still have to have licenses in most of the states across America, even when certain states don't require a general contractor's license. Of course, if you're in Florida, you're in the East Coast, you're in Cali, you're in Oregon, all these places, right? You're going to have a bona fide contractor's license. You have to pass the state exams. So not having those licenses, not having that insurance can kill your business, right? So remember that. Now, the next thing, the fourth thing I want to talk about is lack of written contracts. Look, So many people take advantage of people. I wish we lived in a world where we could just handshake, we get it done, we take care of people, and things are good. That would be a great world to live in, right? I would love to be friends with people who believe in that motto, that you will go and take care of your business because you promised it. Your word is your word, your bond is your bond, the end. But you know what? So many people are money hungry. Think about it. Most lawsuits in America today are by employees. 90 million lawsuits going on average in any given year, and they're mostly by employees. So make sure that you write your contracts well, because contracts that are not properly written are going to cause chaos and problems between you and your client. Haven't you ever had a client when you're doing a project and they said, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Contractor, you're going to, I see what you're doing there, but you're going to do this and this and this, right? And then you're like, well, no, we talked about it, but you didn't really say you wanted it, so I didn't really include that in the thing. But your contract is like 2 sentences, and it's like, I just thought that was included. That's what I wanted. And now, again, you're losing repeats and referrals. And there's only 3 ways to get jobs: leads, repeats, referrals. And if you're losing on the repeats and referrals, dude, you're going to die. It's going to close down. It's going to be done with, right? Here's another one, right? Number 5, and that's ignoring building codes. Whoa. You do not want to ignore building codes, right? You want to make sure that those building codes that you're getting, and that you're doing, I should say, are done right. Because if you miss an inspection or you cheat on an inspection and it's found out, bro, you're going to get fined. If you do it regularly, potential jail time. So you want to be careful of that. Plus, we're not building up to spec, which we should be, to make sure those projects are done right. That's why the good news, our homes don't fall apart, and nor do our buildings in America as much as they do in certain poor countries, right? Because we have certain rules and regs that we have to obey. Don't forget permits. Make sure you get permits for things like load-bearing walls, right? Building a house, underground trenching. There's so many different things. I'm not going to go into the nuance of that, but these are one of the key reasons why contractors fail, right? Let's dive into number 6, weak project scheduling. Oh my goodness, I cannot overemphasize this one enough. This is one of those key components. If you're not properly scheduling your project's just going to run loosey-goosey, and it's not going to go anywhere. But when you have a system and a process, everybody cranks. Every contractor knows where they're going. Every subcontractor, every worker, they know that, hey, this has to get done before this next thing gets going, right? Materials showing up. Oh, wow. I was on a large commercial project up in Northern California, and a drywaller sent 40 drywallers to go drywall because we'd gutted the entire hotel. And guess what? He forgot to order the drywall. Big mistake, right? Costly. Thousands of dollars, because you still have to pay those employees for being there, right? So weak project scheduling. I do have a program called Construction Project Management. If you ever level up from residential to commercial, and I would even say that when you're doing residential, this is going to help you like crazy. It's a 40-hour training course, comes with quizzes, tests. At the end, you get a certification. You should go through that. And if it's not mine, find someone else's, but get into some kind of program that's going to teach you how to organize or agonize. That's the point of scheduling, right? So poor planning or sequencing of trades leads to bottlenecks and missed deadlines. Every time you miss a deadline on commercial projects, you owe anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 a day for being late. You don't want that to happen, right? So you want to make sure that you can develop that process. And by the way, for all you GCs, right? When you have subs and you're on a residential house, you can also put it in the subcontractor agreement. For every day they're late, they owe $1,000 or $2,000, right? So put that in there. That keeps people accountable. All right, number 7. We're going to do 10 this time, and I'm going to follow up with another set because these are so valuable for growing your business. But number 7 is poor communication. You want to know if you're a good communicator? Ask your significant other. How well do you communicate? Well, that's going to be seen by how many mistakes, problems, difficulties, and challenges you have in the workplace, with your spouse, with your children, with coworkers, with clients. It's just going to show itself, right? one of the number one causes of divorce is lack of communication or poor communication. So failing to maintain communication with clients, subs, and some suppliers causes confusion and makes mistakes. So when you're at if you're going to be at a project where you have subcontractors, have those weekly or morning meetings, right? Bigger the project, the more frequent the meetings, right? Make sure you're meeting with your staff and communicating with them what needs to be done on a regular basis. Have a pathway to communicate with your clients. Statistics show that if you communicate twice a day, beginning and when you go, everything you're going to do, everything you've done, and what you look forward to tomorrow, your clients are way more happier. So at least twice a day, right? So poor communication. Number 8 is this. Not vetting subcontractors. Oh my goodness. I want to add employees in there. So think about this. This happened. A guy was a painter, and he hired this guy that he had met a couple times. Like, hey, dude, I need help. Can you help me for this week? I got a project here. So he went, and they went on the job site, and he's showing him how to tape and how to tarp everything up. He goes, hey, I'm going to run to Home Depot, get some paint. You just keep doing this. Finish this room. I'll be back. So he leaves, and that dude, unfortunately, raped the woman of the home. Horrible story, right? But check it out. This is what happened. So this guy comes back. Police are there. Things are chaos. They have to find the guy. They find him. He gets obviously goes to prison. But here's what happened to the contractor. The contractor actually did not do a history lookup on that worker. He just hired him without doing a background check. If you hire someone, now he would have known that guy 12 years ago served 15-year time in prison for vice versa. 15 years later, he served 12 years for rape, right? And so he probably shouldn't have hired that guy, or he should have never kept his eyes off of him, right? Very important. So what happened is here's this painter who has 3 homes, and he's trying to get his 4th home, and he's trying to save up for retirement. He's got this cash flow coming in. He lives in 1, 2 are rentals. But now, because he hired someone without properly doing the background check, work comp, general liability, none of it protected him. Zero, zilch, nada. So he sued the contractor that hired him, and guess what? That guy, that family that got the girl and the husband, the wife and the husband, they ended up owning all 3 of his homes. And so you want to be careful to protect yourself. So make sure that you vet your subcontractors as well. Make sure they're licensed. Make sure they have all the certifications. Check their reviews. Call past clients. You should always get past clients' phone numbers. Even if you want to go out, if you haven't worked for them for a regular amount of time, go out and look at some of their projects, right? Number 9, cutting corners on materials. Oh my goodness, I see this a lot. Using low quality or incorrect materials to save money can lead to future failures and liabilities. Remember, what you do can have consequences that can hurt others. And when it hurts clients, they have the opportunity, from their viewpoint, to sue you. Not so much of an opportunity from your part, right? But at the end of the day, I hope you're the type of contractor. This is how we are at Contractor USA. We've raised up over 10,000 contractors, and our goal is to raise up contractors who actually want to produce good quality work and take care of their client, do their masterpiece, use their artisan skills to make and craft beautiful stuff and create wealth for themselves. So hopefully, if you're listening to this, you're the type of person who wants to take care of their client, and you're not trying to just go around and screw people, right? So make sure you vet them. Make sure you do not cut corners. Use good materials. I was the type of person who, when I was doing it, because now I'm not in the field anymore, if I saw something and I could choose the lower quality material or the higher quality, in general, I would choose maybe a little bit higher quality because I always wanted to give my very best. I felt like I'm working not for me, and I'm not working for the client. I'm working for the big guy upstairs, and I want to make sure that I always do great work for them. And because of that, just had massive calls, right? Now, number 10, improper change order management. Oh my goodness, I was just dealing with this with a contractor today. A lot of times contractors will call me for advice, people that I've raised up. They're either being sued or they're having a struggling problem with the client. Whatever it is, they're going through difficulties, right? So this guy sends in a change order. Now, some states, change orders can only be paid at the end of the project. The states let you negotiate that out between you and the subcontractor. And what that looks like is this, is whatever it says in our contract. So it can either say, hey, we'll give you half now or half at the end of the project. That means the end of the entire project, not at the end of the little component that they're doing at that particular moment, right? They have to wait till the end. So there's all different kinds of nuanced things you want to check out with that, but he did not do these change orders. And so because of that, he's ended up in a lawsuit, and it cost him a pretty hefty fine that he had to take care of. You want to do your change orders. You want to manage them. You want to make sure that they don't take advantage of you by adding too many days to complete the project. You want to inspect what you expect. Make sure you're checking on their particular portion. Set out a parameter like, are there going to be progressive payments? Are you going to allow that? If so, are they turning in an unconditional release of lien rights every time they receive a payment, and then a final completion of lien rights at the final payment? Or are you making them hold it towards the end? There's so many different ways to run your change orders, and you can always ask questions here in the bottom below. But these, ladies and gentlemen, I have saved some of the best for last. There are 10 more that I'm not going to give you today, because I want you to log into number 2. I want you to tell your friends, tell people, hey, you got to get a part of Contractor USA. And if some of you are interested, reach out. If you're killing it out there and you got some good advice, I would love to have you guys on here so that we just connect over Zoom or Riverside, one of the programs we use, and just do this podcast together. So I could highlight your company, shine you out onto the world, and you can give some good, valuable information. We'll have, if you comment down below, we'll have someone respond to you and send you how you can be on that program with us. So these are 10 things. And so just last real quick, poor scope of definition, right? Number 2, inaccurate bidding and estimating. Number 3, improper licensing or insurance. Number 4, lack of written contracts, right? Number 5, ignoring building codes. Don't do that. Or permit requirements, right? Number 6, weak project scheduling. Be organized or agonize. 7, poor communication. Learn communication. Read books or listen to audio while you're driving around. Number 8, not vetting subcontractors, right? And or employees, right? And I would even say vet your clients. There are shady clients out there. Be careful, right? Look around. Make sure you land that job and you do good at that job, right? Number 9, cutting corners on materials. Let's not do that, right? And finally, number 10, improper change order management. Hey, guys and gals, I love that you're able to come here, listen to me dispense the knowledge, because I'm trying to bring knowledge. If you have questions, please put them down there. I want to hit all the subjects that you guys are interested in. So there's no wrong comment or question. Just go down there. Let me know if there's something you'd like me to talk about or dive into on a deeper level. I'd love that. There's going to be a part 2 where we're going to hit Contractor USA and another 10 just killer things that kill business, that if you don't do these, in other words, if you make these things correct, you're going to succeed. And that's all I want for you. Peace out. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.